Well, so since we decided there's so many different aspects of what's been going on with Candace that I want to touch base on, we could start talking about, why she's in the news right now. But I kind of, before we even get to that part, I want to ask each of you your opinion as it relates to Candace Owens, the conservative media personality, and her relationship with the community. Like we'll call it the community, because there is this prevailing sentiment within the community that Mrs. Owens Farmer, that's how I prefer to refer to her that way, but the media personality is Candace Owens. It's been said that, she's not legitimate, right? She should not be allowed to speak on Black issues because, she's not connected to the community. So I just want to go around and get each of you guys' perspective on that sentiment, because I have issues with that sentiment, but I am curious to know what you guys think and feel about that.
All right, I'll start off.
Okay.
Um, but with Candace, I put, every black conservative gets labeled that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are a black conservative, the trope is you don't represent the community. All skin folk ain't kinfolk, as they like to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Candace, I do think there is a certain element about her that for a long time it seemed as if she was trying to um, do every she it's almost like she was saying things for hot takes a lot of times that was unnecessarily critical of, let's say, the black community. And I think a lot of times that turned her off, even when there was things that I agreed with in the past. I'm talking about early Candace, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Early Candace, there was things she would say I'd be right on, but I was like, I can't share it because the way you just said it, nobody's going to accept it, right? And so I think a lot of the bridges she burned early on, I think more recent years, Candace is way more toned down, way more thoughtful in what she says and how she says it. But I think a lot of the narrative about her is from how she first started off when she first came on the scene. So,
Okay, I'm gonna chime in. I actually like early Candace. I know
mm,
I do. You know why? Because it was so fresh and it was so fearless and it was so, listen, this is what it is. And if I don't say it this way, I will not be able to get your attention anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it because I've got nothing to lose. I also think early Candace was a lot younger, a little bit more immature, but I
hmm
still liked early Candace and I like her evolution from, freshly off the Democratic plantation, not really knowing, is she a Christian? Does she believe in God? And like, I still don't, from a faith perspective, I don't even know where she is, but I actually liked, unlike 2017 Candace, because no one that young ever said the things that she said and then said it out loud with such conviction to where it was just pissing everybody off. And I think I
yeah,
like that for me because I'm not one of those sensitive people that be like, okay, I know what you said was true, but could you have said it different? I'm just
yeah.
like, tell me the truth. If you love me, tell me the truth. I'll deal with how it made me feel later, but at least I know. What about you, Jason?
Oh, I'm new to Candace, so young Candace, I'm not that familiar with.
Okay.
I know a lot more about her like starting in 2020. So I know a lot of things she said in 2020 got a lot of people's feathers ruffled, and I can kind of agree with that. But I'm also willing to say, you know what? I don't have to say, well, you said something that I really didn't like, therefore you're finished in every other category and box. That's the silliness. I just like, and I've told you this before, I feel like Candace uses an economy of words that many black people would really benefit from paying attention to. She just says what it is, and she's not going to spend 95 words to say it. So she's just going to say exactly what it is, and okay, fine, we can fight through it. But it won't be said that she didn't tell you what it was. I think that's, in my opinion, that is extremely admirable and something that we as Black people need to embrace because we don't need anybody to sugarcoat and lie to us anymore. We need some people to just tell us the truth. This is what is reality. And and when I brought this to Kevin's attention, I shared with him a couple videos. I'm like, yo, like, how are we ignoring this reality? And I understand Candace is doing been really getting involved in what would be traditionally the Black community media, Black media, and she's giving them that work. She gave the Breakfast Club all the work. She gave Joe Button a whole bunch of work. When she gets on with Umar Johnson, that's a pay-per-view I'm gonna pay for. I don't even I don't even care how much it is. I'm paying for that pay-per-view because it's gonna be insane. So the fact that she doesn't, but see, that's the thing. Like, she has no problem going into enemy territory and just having a dialogue and discussion. Now miss me with the fact that the Breakfast Club gave her softball questions. That was their fault. That ain't Candace's fault. That's their fault. Y'all came in there asking her to recite the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's your fault. Don't blame Candace because she actually knew the lyrics. How about you ask her real questions? So I'm interested in seeing where this goes, and I really hope, if nothing else, from this dialogue and this discussion, more people realize we can be very clear and concise with our own folk and just tell us what it is and keep it moving. And you don't have to, you can still come to the cookout because that's something else I want to talk about, like how we feel like we can ostracize one, but we don't ostracize another. We can say Candace can't come, but we can accept Umar. Why? For why? Why do you accept Ibram X. Kendi and his fake name, but you can't accept Candace and her white husband? I'm sorry, help me understand this. So I'm here for it. YourWokeC@gmail.com.
I'm here for it too. Let me let Sister Monique go ahead and chime in.
Man, I did not like Candace in the beginning. So you got to remember, like 2017, 2018, I'm moving home from Africa, and my friends were like, Candace Owens is the biggest enemy. Like, she target number one. Like, we see her dead on the street, like, just walk over her body. Like, we don't like Candace. And so then I started to listen to her. And as I'm coming away from like critical race theory and stuff like that, there were things that she said that I actually agreed with. But I'm like, how do I get my friends to listen to her? Her tone was so condescending. It was so just like, to me, she would talk to you like you were just stupid, like you just on the plantation. And
We
while that may
were.
be true, I'm not saying it's not true. It's the presentation that I'm hoping, like, because yes, we want to deliver truth with grace. It's not either or. And so if we want to deliver that truth and grace, like, how are we delivering the grace part too, so I can win a conversation with somebody to help them see like, man, you really stuck over here in a mindset that is going to like really just be the destruction of your community and your people. And so I couldn't share her stuff because it was so volatile. It caused so many more issues than like just being able to have like a little bit of conversation. Because at least my friends, they already hated her. And so everything that she said, it was just so like, they just emotional. No, I'm like, yeah, we our community, we are people of emotion.
But is that
But
good? Like,
how do I have
is
that
that good?
conversation? Huh?
How is us being this community full of emotion, how has that benefited us?
I'm not saying that it
Right?
has benefited us. What I'm saying is that I think her approach and her presentation in the beginning wasn't helpful to be able to say, hey, look, like we're a community of emotional people, like, and the Democratic Party understands how to poke our bears and then get us all riled up. So for me with Candace, it was a struggle to share her stuff because she was coming in like, y'all just some emotional, blah, 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 weak minded. And my friends are like,
They were like, yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
But
when I had to listen to her, I was like,
I'm not in disagreement. Like
that
I
do
said,
be
there were a lot of
facts.
things that Candace said that I could agree with. I just couldn't share it because I actually wanted, she's not having conversations with real people. And so that was the difference. Is she could get on her platform and be like, blah, here it is. But in real life, I gotta go and talk to you. I gotta go and talk to this person And now, like, I don't want to be the clean. Who's that woman who sang the cleanup woman?
Cleanup.
Like, you hear that song? Uh-huh. I don't want to be the cleanup woman. I would rather have a real conversation with you to actually help you see some of the errors, especially of the Democratic Party and what you're being sold and how you are living on a plantation. I think what she did in the early days, like I said, even though I agreed with her, it just created more mess than what was needed because we are emotional and because we are driven and we don't want people just coming in like you ain't even at the cookout, so how you gonna tell me and da 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 da. Like it got ugly. I do agree. I think that she's changed her heart position a little bit. I don't know where she stands as far as salvation and Christianity and all that. I think her husband is a devout Catholic, but I don't know what that means for her in her walk with the Lord. But I like one of the things that I want to bring up, just like early on, is I know that there are a lot of Black people who don't rock with Candace, but what I'm seeing recently is more and more people like opening doors and they're trying to listen. And so I'm like, okay, Black people, I see you trying to give an ear.
Right. All right, we're gonna let Rick chime in, but I'm kind of, I hear y'all, but and this is me coming from somebody who used to be a liberal. Um, I know what the Lord did to draw me to Himself, and my back wasn't rubbed into the kingdom, so it could just be me. I'm not one of those rub me on the back into
Right.
whatever your side is. I'm one of those, you got to drag me. And so when I first heard Candace, I was like, she dragging me, dang, but I'm coming, sis, I'm coming. That's how it was for me. What about you, Rick?
Yeah, I think herein lies the challenge. I appreciate the sentiment of a lot of individuals that have gone before me, but here lies the challenge. I think with Candace Owens, I'm going to talk about early Candace Owens because there was a lot that was said about early Candace Owens. The challenge is you had generations of lies and what I call rubble removal, and so in order to remove the rubble, you need heavy equipment. You can't show up with small little hand tools. You need bulldozers. You need powerful equipment in order to do the job. So I think the challenge, the balancing act, I think right out the gate for Candace Owens is that she couldn't soft sell the message. The reason why I use this word in my live stream the other day, this word inculcate. The Black community, by and large, had been inculcated with a litany of lies. So many lies to the point that things become as seemingly axiomatic. That is, it's almost like arguing that water is not wet. I mean, you can't argue against certain things. And so I think the strength that she came, or the veracity of her argumentation, right, was designed to kind of knock over this huge power structure, right, of lies that a lot of people, I mean, people in our own families, people that we know, people that we love, we care for, have embraced for so long. And so the challenge is you can't come to that situation, given the gravity of the situation, with milquetoast approach. But the challenge is, because of what was mentioned about the sensitivity that some people have, people are going to be in their feelings. People are going to feel some kind of way about it. But it's almost like strong medicine that you need. Yes, at the initial hit may feel bad. But I think what we're seeing, I think what I hear from a lot of you, and I kind of share the same sentiment, is that after you get over that hurdle, that major hurdle that needs to happen, then people can start to come to light, start to see, hey, I didn't like this woman because she seemed very abrasive. She seemed very condescending. And let's just phrase it. A lot of that was people didn't like their ideas challenged. People didn't like the narrative challenged.
Say that again.
And so they, instead of dealing with the ideas and the merit of the idea, they dealt with the person, the character of the person, the tone of the person, or the disposition of the person. What about the merit of the ideas? That was the challenge. And it's always a challenge, right? That I think that was a challenge. But also think about Candace Owens, the person, media person, which was part of the question you asked, April, is that you have to be savvy in how you communicate your message. If I just kind of whisper to people and say, hey, they're selling you lies, no one is going to hear what you're saying. So you're going to have to come up with a novel, creative approach in order to get your point across. And it may feel like someone's got a bullhorn in your face, but it's designed in order to draw attention to the issues. That's the point. Now, once you're looking at this person, yeah, you're thinking all of these negative feelings, these negative thoughts about this person. But guess what you're doing? You're looking at the person. The person now has your attention. And now that they have your attention, perhaps the salient issues can actually be addressed once and for all. And I think this settling period that people kind of brought up is what we're experiencing, is that we have a segment within the Black community specifically that are starting to actually now give an ear to maybe some of the commentary, the needed commentary that she's been providing. In regards to the issue with the Christian faith, I think that's kind of an open question. I was even watching something where she was speaking at the convocation at Liberty University about 4 or 5 years ago. And she brought up the influence of her grandfather and people like that. And how scripture was important. We know her husband is a devout Roman Catholic. And so the thing is, it's still an open question, right? I mean, I saw some people in the comment section say, I believe she's a Christian. I definitely believe that a lot of the things that she promotes, those with a Christian worldview, it's definitely in alignment, right? So that I can at least say that much about Candace Owens. So that's all I have to share for now.